Hey, this is Mike, and we're at the 2015 Black Star Film Festival with the makers of Life Essentials with Ruby Dee, Muta'Ali, and N.J. Frank.
57 years of being married to one man. I tell you what, we didn't really know each other until after we got married.
If I had to think of two artists who are the most involved, the two names that would come to mind would be Ossie Davis and Ruby Dee.
The film surrounds the lives of Ruby Dee and Ossie Davis, and as the filmmaker and as their grandson, I was able to interview my grandmother over the last 2 years of her life. And they're known for having a 56-year marriage. They're known for being conscious artists, no matter the cost. They're known for being activists. And as their grandson, I found myself struggling in those areas. So this film is the story of how Ruby Dee and Ossie Davis's lives affect and help me, their grandson. And you're able to see in this story great little vignettes, great little stories about Grandma Ruby's love life growing up, stories about their opinion on conscious art and decisions that they made back in the day, and stories about their activism. It's a fascinating life that they led, and I'm glad that she allowed us to capture her story.
No, absolutely. And I mean, they made a great sacrifice to be who they are. And it really touched me seeing this film, because I'm going through a very similar crisis of consciousness, because so much of our popular culture doesn't necessarily point to artistic responsibility or even speaking for your people or whatever. So this movie kind of fulfilled me, was validation for me in a sense of wow, okay, I'm not alone in trying to fight this big battle. I mean, can you speak to what connected you to the film and to Muta?
Well, Muta'Ali and I, we worked together a little bit in Atlanta, and we worked on different projects together. Once we spoke about his grandparents and him wanting to have this connection with his grandmother and have this documentary made about their life story, we had to work together. We had to jump on board and make it happen, and I did my best to produce it and bring together as much material and people and anything Muta needed to tell this story as best as possible.
I read about you and Grandpa having an open marriage, and I was wondering if you would recommend that for me.
No, I don't recommend it for anybody.
But if I have an open marriage, then I won't be violating my marriage if I step outside of the marriage, so I won't destroy the marriage.
I wouldn't advise that, because I think that can be a very dangerous and a proposition. I'm hoping that as we grow older, as we mature, we'll understand that love is an enormous responsibility. Our capacity to love defines us more than anything. And also our capacity to love people without sleeping with them.
I always ask people, like, we're no longer defined by oppression. Oppression is not what defines black people. So, I mean, where are we in terms of being artists or taking responsibility and moving things forward?
I mean, just in my opinion, I feel like there are certain people who are in a good space, but a lot of it has to do with finances. And the strongest shifts in the black community, positive shifts, happened when the middle class was powerful. And when you look at historically, it was during the time of the civil rights movement where the middle class had a lot of economic influence. Now it's just as disparate, the income between people with money and without, that the middle class is shrinking, and it's much less than what it used to be. And that middle class empowered artists, because Grandpa and Grandma Ruby said that they got the leverage to turn down roles they didn't think were appropriate, because they could perform for churches in their community and schools and make a living that was okay and didn't have to compromise their integrity. When you remove that possibility, artists they have to choose between sometimes having nothing and having a great deal, and that makes it tougher and tougher. And even though we see, I think, a lot of artists, extremely successful people of color, a lot of what they do is really dictated by what economic corporate backers they have. And it's not their fault it's just the lay of the land, and so I think we're in a more difficult time at this point, because not only is that happening, but the racism is more and more subversive, and we're creatures of comfort. So like, I'm not protesting tonight. I'm sitting in a hotel tonight, chilling.
Yeah, Comcast gets all my money, and we're on Comcast, and they got all my money.
I love Comcast.
Absolutely.
I really do. I love Comcast.
We love Comcast. All right, so for folks who weren't here at the Black Star Film Festival, where can they catch up with Life's Essentials with Ruby Dee?
If they go on Facebook, they can go to facebook.com/Life's Essentials with Ruby Dee. Search any hashtag Love, Art, and Activism and hashtag RE with Ruby Dee, and they'll get to see our different screenings and get more information about what's going on with the film and where it's going to come to the masses a little bit more.
Well, once again, I love the film. I love you guys. I mean, I'm so glad that you had the opportunity to just download just a little bit of the wisdom and the relationship that was your grandmother, and put it in a format where you can share it with the world.
You, woman, sister, wife, actor, mother, grandmother, activist, professor, poet, philosopher, genius.
If I'm going to die, I just don't want to die because I'm old. When I die, I want to take some of this. I want to finish some of it.
Ruby Dee, someone who believed and committed and loved more than anything the craft that she did, but didn't separate it from her life. And that's the difference between living and not living.
Hi, my name is Muta'Ali.
And I'm NJ Frank.
And you're watching Reelblack.
The role of the griot, the griot is a storyteller from Africa. You know, I'm thinking of a famous ending that I read in the African folk tales. This my story, if it be sweet or if it not be sweet, take some elsewhere and let some come back to me.
Communities like this got ravaged in the early 80s when crack cocaine swept through. And it destroyed families, destroyed people's lives, and destroyed communities. And so hopefully by telling a very micro story about this particular family, we'll be able to tell a bigger story at the same time.